Welcome everyone, Simon here from the Wall Street. We are looking at MultiVac, that's MTV on the exchange. We're looking at the KuCoin data here on the chart. So guys, we have the MultiVac introduction video pretty much finishing editing now. Should be live on Monday. MultiVac Monday we're calling it. How original. So guys, before that, we just wanted to do an intro into the chart before we do the full-on project intro on Monday. So guys, let's take a look at where we are. So we obviously covered this initially in episode 1 of the People's Crypto. And by the way, if you do not know what that is, go and check our community section on YouTube and make sure you put your entry suggestions in for this weekend's People's Crypto episode 3 already. Crazy. I can imagine it starting a cult, and then when we get to 1,000 episodes, it's going to be some kind of festival or, really exciting initiative like that somehow. But anyway, guys, let's take a look at the chart. Stop waffling on, Simon. There we go. So we are currently in a bit of a bearish movement, and we have kind of been really since a while back, perhaps around this period of time, certainly the 20th of September. A key sort of critical point, and that kind of takes us back to where we see here on the chart. Now, in fact, I would just want to point out that obviously this has had some fantastic growth patterns since that period of time. I'm just going to readjust that so it's definitely accurate. 780% increase in gains from this point here on the 20th of July. A very unique period in most charts, to be honest, as it kind of finished off the reduction that we saw from earlier stages. Now, MultiVac, I'll admit, is one that I'm not necessarily missed out on, but it was one that was sort of brought to my attention a few months ago. But I had so many things in my portfolio, I didn't go for it myself. And I'm actually in a position where I still don't hold any MTV. However, I am looking at some specific buy points, which we'll cover off in a second anyway. But yeah, maybe of interest to you guys as well. But just want to pinpoint this particular topic here again. So from this 20th of July, we've had the 780% increase. Not massively concerned, because I do think the project is phenomenal, and we do cover a lot of the aspects on the Monday's video, of course. But I just want to reiterate here. So we in the past, we've had kind of two major influxes here. So from this sort of 6th, 7th of March period, we had this big intake here. Now, actually, I don't know what that is. I haven't analysed that yet. So let's check that out quick. That was... that's a lot. 4,694% gains in the space of a month. Are you being serious? That's crazy. Can you imagine that? Anyway, we had that big rise. So actually these price points around here being 0.00047 and that high there of 0.0033. That's crazy. Wow. That's crazy. Okay, anyway, we've had that sort of take up there. We did come down from that point on, what was it, the 13th of April. We had the tail down to round about this period of time on the 20th of July of minus 84%. So that's pretty quite over the top correction, in my opinion. I mean, usually I think between like 30 and 70, and that's not just being broad for the sake of it. It's more like depending on the sort of outtake you've had, you do anticipate those kind of levels. So it's a bit on the heavy side, but that's probably understandable considering that giant leap from that period to that period in such a short space of time. But we'll take this back to a bit more of a localized area here. So now we've had this uptake of 780%, which is incredible as well. Obviously not as big as the previous gains down here, but it's still a massive gains taken advantage of. So we've had a level off on 2-3 occasions, and now we're getting this tail off here. So we're not quite getting the bullish momentum that we were before, and that's why I'm finding this really interesting, because I believe there may be some good entry points available to us, certainly from various different levels. In fact, I'm just going to draw in another one that I'm going to just keep in mind for the future potentially. So we remember in the very quick brief intro video we did in episode 1, we drew a few particular areas of interest. There's the all-time high up here that we hit quite recently. I think it was the 4th of September. So that got up to a staggering 0.024. We're currently trading at 0.016. So there has been obviously the retracement thus far from that top point. And just to reiterate what that is currently, so from that all-time high to where we are roughly at the moment, 35% reduction. So I do think there's still some in the tank. I don't think it would be as excessive as the first one, but we just saw earlier this year, about 80%. Not saying that's not possible, but I feel like there's a lot of volume in MTV in general, and there's a lot of belief behind it for what it is, for not necessarily the next couple of months in terms of gains and everything, but I think more importantly for the future, as that sharding aspect continues to improve systems and the interoperability for other chains as well. So I'm really interested in this project, but yeah, this tail up is quite big. That's why I've drawn here 3 points of interest in the short term. I'm actually quite tempted to draw one here. I'm not going to activate this yet for myself, but I'm certainly got some USDT ready for some of these levels. Now, we had the drop down on a couple of times around this area already, and I do anticipate potentially seeing that once more. It depends on this level here. Now, I'm interested in this level, 0.015, we'll call that. Now, can we get that closer like we are right now as a recording? If we can get this closed over a 2, maybe 3 day period, I think that we could support that and bounce back up and try and attack this 0.017 level. However, as you can see, there's been a couple of instances here where we've dropped below that and hit this level down here, 0.0152. So what does that say to me? Well, what it says to me at the moment, I'm just going to come in a bit closer to this. Okay, so there's a multitude of levels here where we've had significant wicks produced. And this is interesting to me because it's showing that there's quite a bit of profit taking and maybe some shakeouts, because what I anticipate really is that when all the other YouTube videos were sort of talking about it around these sorts of periods, and it just went up, everyone FOMO'd in, and all of a sudden they kicked out. And what you see, in my opinion, along this pattern of various elements, of course you have general profit taking, but this to me is a shakeouts of, yeah, of course we had Bitcoin days, which is very much responsive 2 or 3 occasions on here, but I think a lot of this has to do with they're quite long candles that we've got here, and that's my anticipation that all those people that jumped in perhaps maybe losing confidence. And you can see that kind of thing here on the histogram, if I can just kindly move this over the way, where you see this bearish momentum on the MACD, for example. So that's kind of like emphasizing what we're talking about. I thought when we were narrowing here that we might start pushing that and crossing back over, but it's not quite over yet. So that's why I'm really intrigued by these potential opportunities to buy at these potential lower areas. So let's have a keep a keen eye on this chart in particular, because I do think there's some opportunities, and I will keep that one down there as well. I'm not saying that we'll come all the way down here again, but we did put these areas of interest in. I've just drawn that one in today's video, but just to re-emphasize where I put them up here again, because I think we might have another attack down here. If we come down to this level again and we push back up, but we can't get past that resistance of 0.015, I think we could start tailing down. And if you look at the history of some of our previous videos, we tend to be fairly accurate on that. I'm not saying that we're righteous or anything and you should follow everything we do. It's not financial advice. It's just general analysis. Like, we don't do hype videos all the time. We're also very interested in opportunities to buy in. And I'm in the same boat as anyone out there that hasn't got MTV yet. That Just because you see a load of videos about MTV doesn't mean you jump straight in. You research the project more, first and foremost, and secondly, you analyse where we've been. I mean, this is phenomenal growth from July to September. Yeah, it's obviously a good 3-month period. That's pretty normal to see. But I think there's big stages here where we haven't tested any support lines, and even in history, this isn't enough for me to say, yep, definitely we're on our way up. So I'm really interested in these areas. And my next area down here, 0.014 and 0.013. So arguably that's my top end, that's my bottom end. Anything in between might be a good idea as well. But certainly those are two aspects of areas that I want to hit. Why? Because I don't believe in rounded numbers. I like to see things slightly above it or below it. I've got one down here where a line we drew in the first video that we did a couple of weeks ago at 0.012, really testing that just slightly above the 1 cent mark. And also I would like to see something slightly below it, which is where we see here. In fact, I'm just going to adjust that slightly, so it's around about 9.7 here and down to 9.2. Now, like I said, it doesn't mean that it's definitely coming here, but if you have opportunities that you maybe got some USDT ready, they're quite interesting areas. But of course, that's not to say that right now is a potential buy opportunity. However, like I said, we are in a bearish momentum still. The selling volume doesn't look like it's finished. The RSI is 47. I'm probably waiting for something around the 40 to 38 mark, which I do believe would see us around here. So let's see how this plays out over the next couple of weeks. But of course, MTV is going to have a fantastic run towards the end of the year, absolutely, like everything else. But I just feel like in order for it to do it healthily and proactively, it needs to really stabilize itself with some key support lines. So let's see how this plays out. Like I said, it's not definitely coming down here. It's just a question of keeping this support area here, and certainly this one, because we've had 2 attempts. It's rejected, which is great to see, and it's tailed back up. However, the momentum is still going in the downward trend. Look at this. We had the reduction, we had a tail up, we had the reduction slowly. It's coming to lower points each time, just about. So let's just be cautious of that. We're now in a very good testing area here on this 0.015 mark. Let's see how it goes in the next 2 days. And what we'll do is on the Monday video, we will attach the chart analysis to the back of that as well and see where we are with this chart that we've just gone through. So guys, I'm going to wrap up there. Let us know if you're holding MTV, what your thoughts are, what your price prediction is, and we will see you and hopefully MTV not only on Monday, but hopefully on the moon as well. Goodbye.